This is Chapter 6 on page 141, Using Forms to Manage Content.
In this lesson, you will add form fields to a document and modify a form. In your work, you may need to collect the same type of information repeatedly from coworkers or customers. Forms are a familiar and standard way of gathering the data in a consistent manner. Electronic forms can easily be filled out and sent through email to the right person. You can use Word's Forms feature to consistently capture and collect standard information. Topic A on 132 is creating forms.
Page 142.
Almost every business uses forms to collect standard information. Today, a form can be a printed or electronic document. Either on paper or on a computer screen, the form prompts the user to fill in the various fields to gather a consistent set of data. In this topic, you will create one type of form in Word. When you are collecting a standard set of information from a large group of people, trying to question them from memory or noting down the answers in a document might lead to inconsistencies or loss of important details. A form containing fields to enter all of those necessary details helps you to ask for the required information and capture it in an organized format. So a form is a document used for collecting information in a consistent format. Both paper-based and electronic forms contain boilerplate text, such as the form title, labels, and fields. Users can enter information in these fields, but they are not able to alter the form. A form field is a container inserted into a form used for collecting a specific type of information. Each form field has a name signifying the type of entry it requires. Form fields also have their own set of options. These options can be used to determine the type and format of data that a user is allowed to enter and how the input is captured. You can use content controls to create a form. It is recommended that you do not mix content controls and legacy form fields in the same document. So content controls actually prompt the user for specific information in documents, such as forms and document templates. Content controls enable you to create visual form fields without knowing a programming language. For example, using the date picker content control, the user can select a date from a pop-up calendar for a date field. So we're going to go through all of the possible content controls that we can use on a form. So you may have seen electronic forms or printed forms, such as job applications. We've all filled those out before. Some you have to check a box for like male or female. In an electronic application, you might have to select a option from a drop-down menu. We've had to do that in school as well. These are types of different content controls, and we'll see how we can actually add these into a document. So I have a whole list of things that we'll be entering here, and your content controls are available to you on your Developer tab in your Controls command group. We're going to be taking a look at the first two rows of these, all the way from rich text content control to our date picker. And we'll show how to enter design mode and how to set properties for some of these content controls. All right, so the first option here, we have the rich text content control. This enables the user to enter formatted text and special characters such as a tab key. From this type of control, the tab key cannot be used to move focus to the next control. So if I entered, let me go up to my Developer tab in my Controls group. I put my insertion point where I want the control located, and I'm going to click to add that here. And you can see it's just kind of a box, and the default text that it has is click or tap here to enter text. Now, before I explain this, I'm going to move over to my plain text content control. Put my cursor. The second option is plain text content control. It looks exactly the same. Both of these content controls are used to just type content directly in. So if I type my name here, and I type my name here, same options. The only difference is this rich text content control, if I press my tab key, it actually enters the tab within the content control, so it adds that extra spacing. If I did that in my plain text content control, it does not accept a tab character. If I had another plain text content control right underneath that, and I hit tab, it moves to the next control. So you know how you can tab between different fields? That would be used with a plain text content control. But if you need to actually enter the tab key within the text that you're typing, you would need to use the rich text. Really the only difference between the two there. But again, both just take the text that you type into it. Now, if I wanted to name this content control, up on my developer tab in my controls group, I have my properties button. And you can add the title here. Maybe I wanted to add it name just like the actual form control name is here. Enter that title in and click OK. And now the little tab at the top is actually going to show you the title of that control. Okay, and it's only going to show up when you're clicked inside of it. All right, so those are easy ones. Rich text content control, plain text content control. Then we have a picture content control. This enables the user to paste a picture into the control. I'm going to put my cursor here, go up to my controls command group and select my picture content control. And it adds like a placeholder box where you can enter a picture. If I click on this box, it's automatically going to open the window for me that I can browse for a picture on my computer, or I can do a Bing image search for a picture. So if SpongeBob was filling this out and he wanted to add a picture of himself, voila. Now you might be saying, well, why can't they just go up to Insert tab and insert the picture that way, the way we normally do? When you're working with forms, the creators of the forms, and we'll actually learn how to do this in the next section of this, they lock the form, they restrict the editing, so users are only allowed to fill in the form fields. So the user wouldn't be able to, put their cursor anyway, go up to insert and select picture. That would be locked. It would be restricted from editing that way. They would only be able to click on that box that I had there in order to edit the actual content control. So that is why, if that question popped into your mind, because I know it did for me in the past. And that's the reason there, because forms are usually locked from editing anything except filling in the forms. Again, we'll take a look at that in the next section. All right, and again, if I wanted to name this control, I would go up to my developer tab, make sure the control is selected, hit my properties, and enter the title. Maybe they wanted a selfie, something like that, whatever you want to title it as. All right, then we have the building block gallery. This enables the user to select and insert a building block from a designated gallery of document building blocks. So I'm going to put my cursor here, add my building block gallery content control. Now this one, you have to go into your properties. With that selected, go into properties, you can add a title. And you have to choose which building block is going to be available in the drop-down. So remember our building blocks are reusable pieces of information. Let me change this to tables. So you choose the gallery that you want to use. These are all built-in tables. Click OK. And now from this drop down on the tab, remember our calendar type tables? Or if I had this as equations like I was going to initially do, it's just a gallery of word equations that are already saved in there. So that's like going to insert equation drop down. That's the same option here. So again, if a user has to select a certain equation, whatever from a specific building block gallery, they're able to choose it from the form field here. Again, because the form will probably be locked, they wouldn't be able to insert it, the way we're used to doing it. All right, next we have a checkbox. So maybe on application you have to check if you're male or female. Put your cursor where you want the checkbox located. Go to your Developer tab, Controls group, and here we have our checkbox. Click to insert it. Put one to the right of male, one to the right of female. And then when the user's, able to fill out the form, they just click into the box that they want to check off. Simple as that. Next, we have the combo box. And this enables the user to select one choice from a preset list, or they can type a choice in. So I'm going to put my cursor right here next to the colon, and I'm going to choose my combo box content control. Now this is one that you need to go into properties. You need to actually set your selection. So I'm going to title this tab of color. Then down at the bottom, in the locking section, this appears on all of your content controls, these two options. You can check off to make sure that the user doesn't inadvertently delete your content control. And you can check off if the contents cannot be edited, so they can't go back into that. Then down at the bottom are your drop-down list properties. You need to add the values for your drop-down options, what the user has to choose from. So for favorite color, we can click our Add button. We're going to add our display name of red. It's automatically going to enter into the value field as well. Click OK. That's on our list now as one of our options. We'll add blue. And we'll add a third option of yellow. Click OK. Click OK from here. We have our tab named color, which is our title. And now when we choose the drop-down arrow here, we have those three options to choose from. But this is a combo box content control. Combo box means you can choose an option from that drop-down, but you can also type one in that is not available there. So maybe they don't have the option that you want. You're still able to type in something different. Now, if you don't want that option of being able to type in a different option that's not available in the drop-down, then you want to use a drop-down list content control. So that's our next one in our second row. And it's the same idea as the combo box, except they can't type it in. So we need to go to Properties. You can add your title of whatever the content control is, then add your options at the bottom. We'll do Tom's River, brick, and we'll do Jackson. So the user has got to choose one of these options. If I try to go and type it in here, you can see as I'm typing, you can't make this change because the selection is locked. Only those drop-down options are available for me to choose from. All right, and then the last content control we'll take a look at is our date picker. And I have date of birth here. Last option in the second row, date picker content control. Now with this one, you can set the properties to have your title. We'll do DOB for date of birth. And then under the date picker properties, you can choose the format that it will display as once you punch the date in. So if we wanted just the month slash day slash 2-digit year, we can choose that format. Click OK. And now for your date picker, when you choose the drop down, it's going to look like a mini calendar grid here. All right, so you can scroll through. I'm going to have to go way back here for my DOB. You can do it that way. You can also type it in. If you don't feel like, scrolling through the whole entire calendar grid, you can just type it in that way and it will accept it. But if you wanted to use that calendar grid, just choose your drop down and select whatever date. All right. Okay, so those are your different content control types. Now, I'm going to add another content control. We'll do rich text here. Now, remember when it brought the text up that prompts you to type whatever it needs? You can change the text that shows up by default here. And how you do that is you go up to your developer tab in your controls command group and you have to enter design mode. Now look what happens. It shows these two little placeholder icons on the left of the text and on the right of the text. If you want to edit it, if you wanted to edit the text that prompts the user, you want to select just the text inside those placeholders. Do not select the icons on either end. Then you could put, click here to enter your, mother's maiden name. Type in the text exactly as you want it shown. Then when you choose to turn off design mode, when you're done editing all of your placeholder text, you can see that's the text that's going to show up when you have your content control inserted. So the user would click there, enter their mother's maiden name, and bada bing, you're all set. So these are all ways to add different form fields to your forms. It makes entering information much easier for the user. And again, in the next section, we'll see how you can protect your form from, let's say, the labels being deleted. You don't want a user going in there, filling out their date of birth, but then they choose the heading here to, Godzilla. You don't want people to be able to edit that other text. You only want them to be able to enter the form field. So we'll see that in our next section. For now,
Your next video will be Activity 6.1 on page 146.